share screen first. Okay. Okay, so welcome to Britzone Surabaya, everyone. This is the introduction of Britzone Surabaya. So what is Britzone Surabaya? So Britzone Surabaya is part of Britzone ID, and in July 2019, Britzone Surabaya was launched at Loop Station Darmo to expand the audience in Surabaya and nearby. And this is the documentation of our launching day on the right side. And we also have our tagline, which is Dare to Speak Up. And we will say out loud our tagline at the end of the class, okay? Okay, so next one, what are we working
Mr.
on?
Heitler.
All right. Okay, let's go back to right here. What are we working on? We have regular online and offline class, but before the pandemic, we held our offline class in Loop Station, and hopefully we could do it again after the pandemic. And our regular online class conducted every Saturday with various topics and speakers, and we have also breakout room for FGD session. And we also have webinar or studying session conducted once in 2 months for webinar and once a month for sharing session with various topics and speakers. And we also have collaboration, and it is included with campus radio and community in Surabaya. And we also have charity project to help unfortunate people in Surabaya and nearby. Okay, so this is our documentation of regular class. This is the offline class, and this is the online class that we would have today. And in here, we would have a sharing session by the speaker, Jamie Heitler, and we would have focus group discussion and Q&A session with James. And we also have other projects in here. We have webinars and then charity project. And this is some of the collab that we have done before. And this is our past collaborators. We have Toastmasters International. We have Wall Street English, Letters, Traveloka, and the list still goes on. And we have our rules here. First one is dress up properly. And the second is be active to speak in FGD session especially. But if you want to speak up in the main room, you could speak in the Q&A session. And the third one is no judging the other's ability. So this is a safe space for you to learn about your speaking skills in English especially. And fourth is mute yourself when others are speaking. And the next is you can ask to the speaker, Jamie Heitler, in the Q&A session by using the raise hand button or unmute yourself immediately. And last but not least, we have the last rules, turn on your video and unmute yourself in photo session. But we encourage you to turn on your video right now because we will have an interactive and fun class with Jamie Heitler, our speaker for today. And this is the social media. You could reach us in email address, website, Instagram, and the YouTube channel. You could check out this link. Okay, that's the introduction of Britzone Surabaya. So next one is, I guess I could introduce you about today's topic, which is the language of cinema. So as you already know, we will have Jamie Heitler, or Jamie in short. He is a business English instructor and a co-founder of Corporate Community Training, or CCT in short, as our speaker, our conductor for today's class, and he is from the UK. And yeah, this is kind of our special class because we have a native speaker in here. So I think we already have Jamie in this meeting. Hello, Jamie. Are you ready to deliver today's topic?
I am. Looking forward to it. Hello, everybody.
Okay.
How are you? So just to start off today, for some of you who are already in the chat, I've posted a question, but it was a couple of seconds ago. Could I ask everybody to write one of their favorite movies into the chat? Because we're going to be talking about cinema today, so it'd be good to kind of know what kind of movies people like. So could I ask everybody who's to open up the chat and to just write in what their favorite movie is? No judgment on that. And then we will begin. So we got Jurassic Park, superhero movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, I like that. Joker, oh, the dark and serious. A Knight's Tale. Oh, that's a blast from the past. I remember that. James Bond, Harry Potter with ice cream, Star Wars, Mission Impossible. Hello, Ezra.
Yeah,
How are you?
yeah.
Split, Fast and the Furious. Okay, so we're getting a lot of interesting movies. We're seeing quite an interesting split between kind of action movies, science fiction movies, Fast and Furious. I think there was Pride and Prejudice there earlier on. So we've got some sophisticated movies there. Good call out to the Great Gatsby. Nice choice. Vicky, I really like A Knight's Tale too, and that's one of my favorite movies. I love it when they're playing "We Will Rock You" in the background. So, good choice. Okay. Oh, Sherlock Holmes, also a good movie. Dark Knight. Good. Okay, so we're getting a bit of an idea. We're going to be talking about movies today. So I want you guys to keep these movies in mind because we're going to be looking at some of these trailers later on. For some of you who've been to earlier of my sessions, this is going to be a bit of a repeat, but hopefully we can still kind of expand out from what we were doing in the last session. So we're going to be talking about movies today. We're going to be talking about subtext. Subtext is an idea that maybe some of you are not familiar with. Don't worry about it. We're going to go through it and we're going to learn about it. Little bit of a warning. I am going to slightly spoil Transformers, the TV show Firefly. I'm going to show the trailer from Mad Max Fury Road, which is personally one of my favorite movies. I think it's amazing. We're also going to do the trailer from 100 Days of Sunshine. I think that's the one. I've got it right. But before we begin, I'm going to go down a list of people, and I'm just going to kind of get to know some of you guys. So I'm going to start with Rifal. Hi, Rifal. Would it be possible for you to unmute?
All right.
Hello, you're a brave man.
Okay, thank you, James.
You're
So
very
yeah,
well.
okay. So
Could you
want to
tell
know?
me what is your favorite movie?
Okay, Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious, cool. And what? Which is like? There's a lot of Fast and Furious movies. Which is your favorite one out of the Fast and Furious?
Okay, Wayne Johnson and Wayne Johnson and Hope. I don't know who's that. Yeah, Wayne Johnson and his partner. I think the 8 episodes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've forgotten the name of that one. There are a lot of them, and they're all kind of joke names, aren't they? It's like Too Fast, Too Furious, and then they get more and more silly as they go on. And so, what do you think is the thing that you love about those movies? What makes those movies fun for you? Is it the cars, the action, the friendship between the characters?
Okay. Yeah. First of all, it's about friendship. And then action, and then jokes.
Yeah.
And the jokes that they made relate to me, and I feel it. And most of all, it's about jokes because I'm the kind of person who loves a joke, and sometimes make a joke as well. So I think, and then the friendship is above all.
Yeah, they're interesting movies. They come across as very dumb and not very emotional, but actually deep down it's about quote unquote family and friendship and being friends with people and learning to like people, which is interesting.
Yes.
They're deeper movies than most people think. Can I ask you a question? You've been very brave. You've unmuted your microphone. Do you want to answer the next set of questions? Or let's find somebody else along here. Would you like Dian with only one name to answer next? He's smiling and looking a little nervous. Would you like to answer the next question, Rafael, or would you like Dian to answer?
Okay, I'm gonna give it away to Dian.
Okay, that's so nice. Hi, Dian. Would it be possible for you to unmute?
Hi.
Hi. It's so nice to be volunteered, isn't it? Hi. Could I ask you, what is your favorite movie?
All right. So as I wrote down in the comment section, it's English Spanglish. It's not actually an English movie, but it's a Tamil movie. But there is a part of the movie where they film that in the US.
Oh, very cool. Oh, exciting. I'm glad to hear that we're getting more than just kind of Hollywood movies. Because often we forget that, you know, cinema is a thing across the world, and different places have their own cinematic language. We often forget that movies aren't just Hollywood. There's more to it than that. Could I ask you a question? Have you seen the movie Transformers?
Transformers? No, I haven't.
Perfect. This is great because in this session, I want people to try and forget the movies they watch. I want them to try and watch bits of movies without thinking about what happens in the movie. I want them to just watch and see what the movie is telling them in that moment. So that's going to be really useful for me. All right. Are you brave? Are you willing to do like 3 more questions?
Yes, sure.
Okay, great. And then we'll let you volunteer someone else who will also look scared. Great. Okay, so I'm going to ask you these questions. Don't worry too much about the answer. We're going to kind of work through this together. So I'm going to start with an open-ended question. What is language? For you, Dian, what is language?
Oh, for me, language is a tool of communication. It is how people communicate with each other. But whether language is just or merely words, I'm not sure, because some people also speak with signs. There's sign language, right? So so I guess language is not only words.
Yeah, perfect. We have actually, if we're talking face-to-face like this, we have technically 3 ways of communicating. There are the words we speak, there's the body language, what we're doing with our head.
Yes.
And that's it. There's also intonation, whether we say the word with a high pitch. Are you sure? Which would turn it into a question. You sure? Which would turn it into a question, but with an emphasis on, I think you're wrong. So there's a lot of ways that we communicate person to person when we're face to face, like you and I are right now, across the internet, across the world. So yeah, absolutely. Language is about communication. Language is not just words. How do we communicate? The 3 ways that we mentioned. I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to ask you to volunteer somebody else in the audience. We'll go down through the list and then see it. How is communication different when we are on social media like WhatsApp compared to how we are now?
I guess social media gives people power.
But how is it different? How do we communicate differently on social media?
Okay, so I guess social media gives people power to express themselves more. It's like nowadays people are becoming more expressive when they use social media. They can say anything they want. While in real life, they don't have the guts, or they don't have the cogence to say those things. That's what I think about how people communicate on social media.
And that's an interesting thing, because that's a kind of that's underneath the surface. When we're face to face with somebody, we tend not to say things like "I hate you."
Yes.
That's it. But we seem very happy to do that when we're on the internet. So yeah, that is a major difference. Okay, you've been very brave. I'm going to now give you a choice. There is another, just going through the list, I'm going to give you 2 choices. Would you like either the other Dian Asman, or, I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce your name, Raid with the face mask? Who would you like?
Me?
All right,
I-
so I'm gonna give it to the person with the mask.
Okay.
Oh.
Hi, please, how are you?
Hello? Can
Hi,
you hear me? Yeah. Okay.
yes.
Okay. Hi, Jamie.
Hello. Okay, so we've been getting some good stuff. I'm wanting to bounce on with a couple more questions. Again, I'm more interested in your opinion than necessarily trying to find the absolute truth here. In your opinion, do people get more angry when they are talking face to face, like we are now, or if they meet in public? Do they get more angry then, or do they get more angry on social media?
In my opinion, will
Yeah.
get more angry in social media.
Okay. Now, I would agree. And part of that is, as Diane has already mentioned, that when we're in that situation, people tend to be a little less, how should we say, diplomatic. We tend to be more expressive of negative emotions. We tend to be ruder and that stuff. But we also, even when people are quite polite, people still get quite angry on the internet. And why? And let's think about if you're on a WhatsApp group chat, how can you communicate? Well, there are two ways you can communicate on a group chat. What are they?
The way I communicate.
Yeah. If you are typing away on a group chat, there are two ways that you can communicate. What are they?
I don't know. Maybe via text or via voice notes. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do words. You could do a pre-recorded message, or you could do written words, or you could do one other thing.
Sorry, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Can
Have
you
a look at my.
repeat your question?
Sorry.
Can you repeat your question?
Sorry. You can either write in words, or you could leave a voice note in words, or
Yep.
you could do one other thing on WhatsApp. Have a look at my screen.
Oh, okay. Give a sticker. Yeah. Give stickers.
Yeah, you could
Okay.
use emoticons. And so
Emoticon.
instead of using our actual face on WhatsApp, we tend to use emoticons. The problem with that is that emoticons are not as good as human faces. Human faces can do a lot more communication than emoticons can. And this is partially the reason why people get so angry on the internet, is they misunderstand each other. Somebody uses a laughing face and they think, oh, this is so people don't take it seriously. And then the other person gets angry because they think somebody's making fun of them. And so on the internet, we tend to get a difference between what we mean and what people understand.
Yes. The text can be ambiguous.
Exactly. A text is often very ambiguous, and people get then angry. We have other situations like this where if we misunderstand the communication, we can get very angry. And one of those is traffic. Does anybody not get stressed in traffic? Why is traffic so stressful? Well, traffic is so stressful because the only way to communicate is flashing lights or honking, both of which are quite aggressive and angry things to do. I think we could solve world peace if we just have every car needs to have a sign on the top that when you click a button, it will go maaf. We need a sorry sign for traffic. And we've got some interesting things. What if we use waka waka in the end of every sentence? I feel that it's a good point, Tre, but I feel that it might be also quite confusing as well. So, thank you, Ed. Would you like to answer the next question, or would you like the Dia to answer next?
I would give a chance to other people.
Okay, that's very nice of you. You're such a gentleman.
Thank you, Jamie.
You're very welcome. Hello, Dian, Dian. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. If it's okay, how do you feel about being volunteered? It's a bit... Sorry?
Could you please repeat it because...
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, good. Is your heart going a little bit boom, 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 boom? Is it scary?
I'm just feeling the... I'm trying to relax at least, but this is my first time, so...
You're doing great. You've got a scary bule asking you questions in another language. You're doing perfect. So, yeah. So I'm going to go on and talk a little bit about it. I'll let you, in about 1 minute, I'm going to ask you to volunteer somebody who you think is very brave. We'll come up with a couple of options and we'll see if we can find somebody for you. So to continue the lecture for everybody, is this communication? Communication has multiple aspects. There's what we say, and it's what people understand. Hopefully those things should be working together, but often they are different. Like when we are talking on social media and we say one thing and we go waka waka at the end and somebody on the other end thinks we hate them. This is what we call about 2 types of text. We've got the literal text, which is what people say, and then we've got subtext, which is the kind of meanings, the understandings that are underneath the surface. So, Dian, could I ask you again?
Yes.
So Trey made a very good comment in the thing about putting waka waka on the end of every sentence. Do you think he would be good to ask next? Shall I ask him to answer the next question? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask him next. Thank you very much, Dan. Hi, Trey, are you able to unmute?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing good. I liked your comment in the thing, so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
I know it might sound silly.
That's okay. I can tell you're in a crowded environment, so we'll keep it short. So have you seen the Transformer movie?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Do you remember Megan Fox's character? Do you remember what she was good at?
I forgot her character name, but I know that Megan Fox played it because I have only watched the first movie of the franchise. Pardon me, I don't really remember it.
That's fine. And I'm going to say there's a reason you don't remember it, and it's because it's an okay movie, but it's not a great movie. If it was a great movie, you would remember it. It's good. It's got good parts to it. If you enjoyed it, I'm not making fun of it, but it's not a great movie. So this is why it's good to analyze. So here's a quick rule. I'm going to ask you a question on this, and then we're going to invite somebody else who isn't in a crowded place to speak. So do you remember what her role was? Was she a mother, a friend, or a romantic partner?
I guess it was the romantic partner, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
if I still remember.
You're perfectly correct. You're doing it. Okay, so thank you, Trey. Because you're in a crowded thing, I'm going to go to someone else, but I appreciate your input at this point. I'm going to look at somebody else. I'm going to go to Rayan, if that's okay. Thank you so much, Trey, for talking. I know it was difficult. Hi, Rayan. Would it be possible for you to unmute?
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. So what about you?
Okay, great. Have you seen the movie Transformers?
Yeah, I know Transformers, but it's already taken a long time ago for Megan Fox. But I mean, the last movie from Transformer I watched is from Mark Wahlberg, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, nice. That's good. So I'm gonna I'm gonna repeat what I said there. I mean, I enjoyed Transformers when I first saw it, but it's not a great movie. It's an okay movie. It's an okay-ish movie. Do you remember anything about what the character wanted?
Corrective for the cast for what kind of Transformer? Because there's two.
The first one.
Oh, I just know Megan Fox, right? Megan Fox. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
because she had lots of arguments with the director about this. I actually think Megan Fox is a lot more intelligent an actor than she actually is portrayed in the movies. Because I think the director didn't really care about the character, so the character had no motivation, didn't really care about stuff. If you remember, her name was Mikael Bain. I don't remember it. Don't worry if you forget. Everybody forgets it because the director didn't really care about it. If we kind of go through what the movie said literally, i.e. the literal text, what characters say to each other, the characters in Transformers literally say, Mikael Bain is a strong, independent female mechanic. She fixes cars. They say this. They say she is tired of people thinking she is stupid because she is a pretty woman. Yeah. She wants to find someone who understands her. This is, again, one of the literal kind of texts of the movie. And she needs people to see her inner strength and brains, not just her beauty. This is something that the movie asks us to do. Now, this is what the movie characters say, but this is the image that you see of her on screen.
Yeah.
Now, this is not saying those things. The subtext of this image is, look how sexy I am. Look how sexy. Sexy, 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 but near a car. Can we see now how there is a difference between what the characters are saying and what the movie is saying? We are getting miscommunication here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we have a bit of a difference here. Now, you've been very brave and answered the questions. Do you want me to volunteer someone else, or do you feel up to answering the next set of questions?
I think that give someone to the opportunity to answer the questions.
Oh, it's so nice of you. So nice of you to volunteer someone else.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. Unica?
Yes.
Hiya. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, James.
Could you tell me what's your favorite movie?
I think it's not like one's movie, but I just like see Transformer ever like this. The Mission Impossible, I think I ever look at.
Oh,
but
nice.
It's not like never I have one movie's favorite that so embrace like that. I don't have, I think.
Oh, movies. Yay. So you're a polymath. It's not really technically the use of that term, but that's okay. So let's, I want you to, we've had a look at like Transformers. Transformers is an okay movie, it's not a great movie. Let's have a look at this show, Firefly, which I genuinely think is a very good TV show. And I want, again, I don't want you to worry about being right or wrong in this thing. I just want to hear your opinion about it. From this image, what can you tell me about this character?
Sad.
Yeah. What's her job?
Mechanic.
Yeah. Okay. So she's a mechanic. What tells you that?
To uniform. I think it's the uniform, and then
exactly
you can see machine.
Yep. Yep. So the image is helping us to understand it. She's not wearing a bikini and is bent over in a sexualized pose. She is standing. She's wearing boots. I mean, she's a pretty woman, but she's not like, that's not the main thing the camera is interested in.
Yes.
So it's going back and forth. What's her emotional state? Do you think she's angry, happy, sad, scared?
Sad. I think she is sad and feel lonely. I think I just get it.
Okay, what is telling you that? Because I think you're right. What's
Her eyes?
her eyes? Yeah.
Her eyes, because like the empty look. What's it?
Yeah. Yeah, she's kind of she's not really there. She's kind of away in her head. Does she feel powerful or powerless?
Powerless.
What is telling you that?
Her body language don't see, yeah, like just surrender with other things like this. I think.
Yep. She's protecting herself from the outside world. She's a little bit not there. She's not in a happy state. You can tell she's a mechanic. Now, here's a little bit, it's a bit of a weird question. Is she a mother, a friend, or a romantic interest?
Number two, I think.
Number two. Okay. What tells you that what tells you she's not a mother? And then what tells you that she's not a romantic interest? It's a difficult question.
Yeah. I never looked her in the film, but it's a difficult thing because I don't know the couple. So I can't suggest that it is romantic or not like this.
But you went for friends, and I want you to trust your emotions on this one because your emotions are actually correct. And this is what films do. They communicate with us, but we don't quite know why. If she was a mother, she'd probably have some mother indicators, like she would have a pram or some, bottled milk, or there would be children around. If she was a romantic interest, she would be more made up. The camera would be more focused on her face. And that's it. We could maybe say, and she would probably be a bit more sexily dressed to make the men's hearts go boom, 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 boom. The earlier image was for the men to make them go boom, 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 boom. Very subtle. Color of her shirt. The color of her shirt, it's a patterned shirt underneath her uniform, is telling us that she is more of a made up, not to be interesting necessarily to men, but to be interested more to kind of just general audiences. So we can see Firefly is pretty good because the message of its images and the movie and what the characters are saying are working together. Transformers, they kind of so sexy, so sexy, so sexy. Oh, I'm a strong, independent woman who wants to be respected for who I am. And
misunderstanding.
Yeah, exactly. And this is because the director didn't really care and just wanted to have a woman in a sexy uniform. Yes, she is a mechanic, you're correct. She's lonely, a little bit shy around men, but she wants a boyfriend. She's pretty and sweet. She has a good heart and people really like her. You were right when you said that she was the friend, not the romantic interest.
Yeah.
Later on, the movie shows her like this, and this is where she changes from being mysterious and different and scared to being her true self. So again, the movies are communicating with us all the time. Do these images agree with what the characters are saying? I would argue yes. If you argue different, that's also fine. This is about opinion. Everybody's opinion is true and useful. Thank you so much, Unika. You're very brave. We're going to go on to the next section now. So we're going to create some breakout rooms for some friendly competition. At this point, we're going to be going into a breakout room. You're going to be put with a facilitator. I want you to come up with a group name. This group name should be a combination of an adjective, a noun, and that verb. Now, hey, it's an English lesson. Rayan, could I ask you to unmute quickly?
Yep.
Okay, so if you, Rayan, Unika, and Trey were all in the same group, you could work together to come up with a name like this. So for an adjective can be a color, white, red, blue, black, whatever. So Rayan, could you tell me what's your favorite color?
My favorite is black, I think.
Okay, black.
Yeah, black.
Perfect. Okay, I'm then gonna Unica, what's your
Blue.
favorite? Okay, great. We're gonna go with Rayanne's color. Nouns. Nouns are things, objects in the world. So animals are things. So could you tell me what is your favorite animal?
Me or Unique?
Me.
Yeah,
Me first.
Unica.
Okay.
Yeah.
Duck.
Duck. Okay, this is going to be a great name. I'm going to ask Trey if you are able to unmute. Could you tell me what your favorite activity is? I'm not sure. I think Trey is having internet difficulty, so I'm going to ask Tika, who is next on the list.
It's
Hi,
me?
Tika. Yeah. So could you tell me what your favorite activity is?
Working?
Working. Okay, so in that way, your group would be called the Black Ducks That Work. It's a very silly name. So guys, I'm going to ask you to go into the breakout rooms and come up with your group name together. One person picks the color, one person picks the animal, one person picks the activity.
Okay.
All right. And I also want you guys to discuss together to find a movie that you all like. I'm going to give everybody in the breakout room 5 minutes for this. I want you to decide on 3 reasons that you like the movie. I will ask 2 groups for their movie and for their reasons why once you've had a chance to discuss. So facilitators, can I ask you to screen cap this image so that you have it for later when you go into the breakout rooms? While we're on, once you've done that, I'm going to give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. And yeah, guys, you should have an option to join the breakout rooms now. If you go and join it, let's make some group names. I will see you on the other side in about 5 minutes.
All right. Is Abdul Rahman here?
It's a good question. I will find out.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay. It's cool. You want to go to the breakout room yourself or?
Not at this point. We'll give them a couple of minutes. I mean, looking at our time, it took us a little while to kind of get through the first one. Hello,
can anyone
I
please
did.
send me to the breakout room because I wasn't able to join to the breakout room.
Let's send you in. Let's send you in again.
Okay.
There. One.
Okay.
Are you okay to do it, Nikan? Because
yeah.
Because I
I
think
did,
Harris is one, needs one. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Wait. Nurindra is going to assign you, right?
Okay, okay.
Just wait for a minute.
Wait, Adit, wait.
Okay, okay. I'm going to rename my...
Okay.
Aduh.
Tadi soalnya nggak bisa join, sorry guys.
No worries. Yeah, so looking, for the people who are here, we kind of look behind the corner and kind of go, okay, yeah, we really only can give them about 5 minutes for this activity. So it's when they come back, I'm going to quickly ask each facilitator for their group name, and then I'll ask two because we are behind schedule because it took us a little while to get through that initial part. This is one of those things you, if you noticed earlier on when I was working with female Diane, it was like, okay, nope, I can't ask her these next couple of questions, so I use her to kind of bounce on to the next one as one, because you know, she at least still gets a chance to talk, but at the same time, you know, we don't push her to do anything that she wouldn't be comfortable or capable of doing at that point.
Yeah, true.
But because of that, we can't, because we don't know if we're going to have somebody who's going to be a bit like that, that means then that we have to then look at the later sections and think, okay, how long is that going to take?
Yep.
ideally at the
Tanina,
endpoint.
are you done yet?
I don't know, but I think I cannot assign you to the breakout room.
Maybe I could assign Adit to breakout room 3, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the time is taking. It's only 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I think I already assigned you. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, looking at these breakout rooms, like breakout room 3 is Tika's one, and that's Dian and Dicky, all of whom are quite high levels of English and are all very talkative people. So really for them, you know, the fact that they're a small number doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Riyada, Ezra, Fasil Miria, yeah, that should be okay as well, because Ezra was the one who was giving feedback on his microphone and jumped into the conversation. I don't know, have you had Ezra on before?
I'm not sure. I think he's a newcomer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, with that that one, just noticing that he's jumping into the conversation, I'm kind of going, okay, this is, I'm going to use the word potential problem there, because you can identify some people who don't necessarily understand the social etiquette around it. Most people are too far on the being polite and not talking, and other people can be a little on that side. So they're ones that I'd be interested to know whether that was just mic issues or whether it was something else there. Dion, okay, yeah, Dion Yasmin is with Winter. That should be fine. Yeah.
I want to know something about you. Have you learned about pedagogic?
Pedagogy? Yeah. Yep. It's it's ironically quite a difficult word to say.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been teaching now for about 8 to 9 years. I first did. It was about 15 years ago that I first started teaching English, and at that point, I went with the Cambridge TESOL course in Edinburgh, and it was just, I was just doing it to make a little bit of extra money. Part of my kind of reason for coming to Indonesia to be with my wife, I couldn't really get a job doing international development at that point for pretty good reasons, because the Indonesian government wants Indonesians to be doing development work, which is great. I support that policy, because international development can be very kind of bule focused, and bules don't understand the local environment, and that's a problem. But it's not great for me, because it meant that my primary employability was quite difficult. So that's when I started to teach English full time. Worked with English First for 4 years, and you know, they train you up there. And after the end of it, it was like, okay, I've been doing this for 4 years. I know kind of this stuff. Let's try starting a business. And so I started with Chris, and you haven't met Multi, but Multi and Chris and I are all former EF trainers. And we're like, well, we can do this better than EF. EF is really good at the start, but it kind of, like, for more advanced students, like people at your level, they're not very applicable. Like, you've got like the English training, and then you've got university, and there's a big gap in between, or indeed between English training and employment, and then there's this big gap, and that's kind of where we are supposed to be with CCT. What about yourself? What are you planning to be a teacher in the, or are you a teacher? Sorry, I should be saying this.
No. I'm not a teacher, and I'm just student of psychology major.
Then a good pipeline for you would be to go into teaching.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
but currently, I'm not interested in teaching. So,
okay, fair enough. If you have no interest in it, I will stop the push. So what kind of psychology are you thinking about pursuing in the future? Are you thinking therapy side of it, organizational side, child development? What kind of areas are you thinking?
I think for now, I want to do organizational psychology, like industrial organizational psychology.
Really important thing, because yeah, organizations, I think the way to think of like organizations is like, you know, AI in movies, like artificial intelligence in movies, like the I can't let you do that how type stuff. Organizations are like that. They are humans kind of incorporate them, but they're like the first computer AI that we ever came up with. They have their own intelligence, they have their own things, and they have their own desires and wants. And yeah, I think in Europe, people are starting to understand how people as groups, as organizations start to work, but I don't think it's really progressed outwards.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to give them 2 more minutes.
Okay.
And then we'll start kind of bringing them back in.
All right.
But yeah, cool. So you're thinking like companies, or do you think you would be interested in working for the governments, charities? What areas?
I think more to non-government, not-for-profit organization. Yeah, that's. I think
You should. I keep. I'm the forever teacher, and I will say, oh, you should do something on Britzone and the psychology of Britzone, because Britzone. At some point, I would suggest join. If I don't know about Arif, ask Arif if you can join like Britzone Jakarta and just be in the background and study how it works, because I think it's a. Britzone is quite an interesting organization, I think, as an NGO, as a non-profit one.
Yeah, it's more like a community rather than organization, a big organization who hire people, you know.
But the internal council is definitely an organization.
Yeah,
it's an organization with a community as its kind of extended outreach.
Yeah,
which is fascinating. Again, let's give them 1 minute.
Yeah, 1 minute more.
1 minute.
I think I want to ask you something. So, are you familiar with Indonesia, or?
Vaguely. I mean, I have lived in Indonesia for about 7 years now, but part of my problem is because I live and work in English, and my wife, who grew up in America, is Indonesian but grew up in America. We communicate in English, so I've never really kind of learned Indonesian beyond, you know, screaming "sesuai aplikasi" to a Gojek driver.
Yeah,
and that's it. I mean, I've kind of picked stuff up by just watching people, but yeah, I'm not an expert in any way.
But have you ever been to Indonesia before?
Before I met my wife, no. The closest I'd ever been was Cambodia, where I did my second set of teaching. We're letting people come. Shall we let people come back and close the rooms?
Yeah, I think people start to come back into the main room.
Perfect. Let's go with this, and then to speed things up, I'll go with the facilitators.
Yeah.
Now you can tell, but the ones who are desperately trying to kind of finish the task by the ones who don't immediately come back. So to everybody who's here right now, please be patient with group 5, group 4. No, sorry, group 7, group 4. You can tell that they're desperately trying to. Okay, what movie are we going to do? Come up with an adjective.
No, not really, Jamie. I guess even choosing the name is hard task for them.
Oh, I gave too much to do. Oh no. What's your? I don't know. You've seen the Kiki, have you seen the sorry, have you seen the movie Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Monty Python. No, no, no. Never seen that movie.
Okay, there's a particular movie where like they come to a magical bridge and there's a guardian who kind of asks people kind of difficult questions to pass, and if they answer wrongly, the guardian will kill them with magic. And he starts by asking really impossibly difficult questions like, what's the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? And the first couple of guys have it really difficult. And then he goes and asks one of the third characters to try, what's your favorite color? The person answers perfectly fine. And then the fourth character, who is kind of a little dopey and a little sleep, gets asked the same question and goes, blue, no, black, and then gets chucked into the thing. It's funnier when you watch it. Anyway, shall we begin? Well, it's important to know everybody's names, and then I will ask them. So could I ask facilitator Rosa?
Yes, Jamie.
That's right. Hi, how are you? Could you tell me what is your team's name and what is the favorite movie they've gone for?
Okay, so we are from group 1. We already picked one name, which is the blue cat that's browse on internet.
The cat that browses internet.
Yeah.
And your favorite movies or the movies that you all like?
Yeah, actually, we had a really hard time to choose one movie that's all of us love it, but yeah, we go with the end game because some of us already watch it.
Hey, there we go.
With the snapshot.
Yeah, thank you, Rosa.
Yeah,
okay, could I go to facilitator Tika?
Hi, Jamie.
Hi, how are you going? What's your group called?
Our group name is Black Dino That Working.
Black Dino, working 9 to 5. Black Dino that's working. Okay, and your favorite movie?
You know that it's difficult to find our favorite movie because all of us has a different favorite movie. So we choose one of familiar, and we choose Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, facilitator Adit.
Okay. So my members from the group three, we have already decided the name of our group, which is the Blue Dog That Dance.
Blue Dog That Dance.
Yes,
you can dance
it's a
if
dancing
you want.
dog.
Great. And your movie is?
And the movie will be a horror movie, and it will be Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It part.
That sounds like an excuse that a pupil gives to a teacher. I didn't do the homework, teacher. The devil made me do. So I didn't. Maybe stop doing it.
Yes.
It sounds very scary. Thank you. Could I facilitate Mira?
Yeah, Jim.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good. For our group is a blue mountain is roars.
Okay. Sorry, what was the animal again?
Oh, we just choose about the any. Okay, different not about animal. We just choose mountain.
Mountain.
Oh, yeah, mountain.
It's a noun. You are following the rules, and great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the movie is?
We all the same. Favorite movie is I think because everyone like action movie, and we like about Thanos, and yeah, we choose Avenger movie.
Avengers, yay! Okay, we'll need to go through this, right? Facilitator Winter.
Hello, Jamie.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, thank you.
And so what is your group's name?
Okay, so our group name is The Blue Bear That Jogs in the Morning.
Blue bear that jogs in the morning. It's a very healthy bear. Bears are interesting. They actually are one of the few animals that can become very fat without it being unhealthy. I forget what it is. It's that their fat cells don't actually divide like human cells do. They just expand and condense water and more lipids in them. Bears are fascinating.
It's a new hobby for them.
It's one that they don't actually need to do. They do it for the joy. And the movie is?
Okay, so same as other groups, it was difficult because we have different tastes. But finally, we come to final decision, Disney movies, because who doesn't love Disney? And we chose Aladdin.
Aladdin is good movie. Oh, new world.
Yeah.
Thank you. Winter.
Welcome.
And Arif, you're up next. Hi, it's
Jamie.
Arif.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Great. Yeah.
And your group name and movie is?
So our group is also a healthy group actually. Purple Rabbits That Jog.
Purple Rabbits That Jog. Okay,
Yeah,
there's a lot of...
Exactly, yeah. And we came up with the movie Avengers because everyone loves it. It's kind of easy for us to find the movie actually because they love the same movie.
Perfect. I mean, there's a reason why those movies are loved.
Exactly.
They are very good of type. Okay, facilitator Haris. You guys had...
Yes.
How are you doing? You guys we had a little bit of internet problems and you only had 3 people, but what is your group name?
No, yeah, exactly. We only have 3 people. So small. Okay, so my group names is Red Diamond That Shines.
Red Diamond. Okay, so you also went for a different name, and I'm glad about that because it's, guys, if somebody gives you a set of rules like this and you decide to change it to make it more fun for you, please do that. And that's it. So all right, that rhymes. Okay, and the movie that your group picked.
Our group chose science fiction movie. It's called Lucy.
Oh, Lucy. I think I know the one. It's
the woman
I'm thinking Guns.
Brain.
Oh,
Yeah.
the brain one. No, yeah,
Yeah.
now I know what it is. You only use 10% of your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Thank you for that. Could I ask finally, facilitator 8 Princess?
Yes, Princess here. All right. Yes.
And what's your group's called?
It's kind of different with the other groups. It's kind of it. We have a theme today, so it's a horror, a scary things. So the name is The Blue Doll That Reads. Can sounds creepy, right?
Yes. I'm going to change it to sexual assault, but yeah, it's absolutely. Don't go to sleep near that doll. It's a bad idea.
Of course.
And what was the movie that you guys picked? I'm assuming it was a horror movie.
Of course, yes, definitely. It's Annabelle.
Annabelle. Okay, again, a doll that you would not want to fall asleep next to. Okay, so thank you so much, guys. We will be coming back to these groups in a little bit. We're going to actually speed up a bit because we're a bit behind schedule. And I did promise that we would finish at 20 past, but we might go about 10 minutes beyond. Who can I pick on next? Actually, Dickie, could I ask you to unmute? Yeah.
Hello.
How are you doing? We've actually done, you've actually been involved in one of these events before. So I'm actually going to use you to kind of quickly go through things and kind of bounce off things. So for the final activity, sorry, we're going to do this quickly. I'm going to show you a bunch of images on screen. I want you to count them as quickly as you can. And while you are doing this, I am going to count off the number of seconds it takes you to count them. Now, if you remember from last time, this isn't about your intelligence. This is about humans. We're actually testing here how long it takes human beings to be able to identify things when they are shown to them. So I'm going to click to the next screen. There are going to be a bunch of things on screen. Can you count them as quickly as possible? And when you've counted them all, tell me and I'll stop the stopwatch. Are you ready?
All right.
Okay.
Ready.
Great.
9.
Okay, great. That was good. That took you about 4 seconds, 4.5 seconds. Okay, we're going to do this exactly again. And again, I'm going to count it down and I want you to tell me as quickly as possible how many it is. Are you ready?
All right.
Okay.
8.
Okay. Now, here's a thing. It's kind of difficult to identify what we're looking at here, but it took you 2 seconds to get to a number on the first. On the second one, it took you twice as long here. Why is that?
Because the second one has pattern.
Yep. For this one, in order to count, your eye has to kind of go like this, and it's going all over the screen, and it's quite difficult to be able to actually focus when your eye is having to dot about the screen to different parts. It forces it, you get a lag time. It takes a lot longer for people to identify things if they have to be looking in different directions. Whereas with the next slide, everything is in the middle. And so your eye only has to go tush, 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 tush. It doesn't make that sound. But because everything is centered, your eye doesn't have to work as hard to identify it. And this is one of the cinematic tropes that, one of the cinematic languages that cinema will use. If something is in the center of the screen, then the filmmaker, the director, wants you to pay attention to it. If it's over in the corner, the filmmaker is trying to hide it from you. So if I talk to the blue dolls that sexually assault people, in a horror movie, most things are going to be over in the corner and they're going to come into the frame. In an action movie, most things are going to be in the center because that's where people are paying attention to. If it's on the edge, you're not supposed to see it. If it's in the middle, you're supposed to see it. These are things known as visual illusions or visual tricks. They're ways that the brain does things that make it easy to trick people into seeing one thing when they're actually seeing another. Oh, they're longer. Oh, no, they're all the same. So we're running a bit short, so I'm going to bounce through this and that stuff. Cinematic language is about multiple things. It's the dialogue, what people say. It's about how people act, whether they're looking a little scared, whether they're up, how they interact with each other. It's about music and sound effects. If something goes dong, 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 that probably means something shocking or bad has happened. If the music is low, then maybe it's scary. If it's high, it's heroic. These are ways that that cinema tells us things, how movies tell us things. How they are dressed tells us stuff. How Dickie is dressed tells us that he is in student mode. How I'm dressed tells you that I'm in teacher's mode. If I take off this shirt and I'm wearing a hoodie and a top, I become a student. If Dickie puts on a suit top and a jacket, he becomes the teacher. How people are dressed tells us about who they are. Camera angle is also important. Camera angle tells us whether somebody is powerful or powerless, whether they have power over the other person. If somebody is taller than the other person, they have power. If somebody is shorter, they have less power. Oh, I'm so powerless. I'm so powerful. Well, didn't mean to do that. Ignore that. Ah! Don't press your keyboard while you're doing stuff. So we're going to be seeing a movie trailer. I want you to kind of have a look at it. I'm going to ask you, Dickie, to kind of work with me on it. And we're going to go through the different things. You've done this before, so we should be a little quick. So we're going to show a trailer for Mad Max Fury Road. I'm going to pause it at different bits, and then I'm going to ask you to tell me things. Now, I also want people to pay attention to where the center of the screen is focused. Okay. Are you ready, Dickie?
Ready.
Great. Okay. Okay. So, what's in the center of the screen? It's not quite the center here, but it's very close to it.
It looks like a man giving up, being hopeless.
Yep. Okay. What's telling you that they're hopeless?
Kneeling down, looking to the sky as praying, asking help from the God, and it's lonely in the middle of the desert, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. Center of the screen, they're very small, so they have less power. It's actually a woman, but she's very androgynous. She shifts between being male and female within the movie. It's all a statement about gender and things of that nature. But yeah, absolutely. Her body language tells you that she's powerless in this scene. She's screaming up into the sky. She's alone in a desert. The desert doesn't care about her, so the wind is going past. There's a lot of symbolism there. Now, I'm going to play this again. And I'm going to play it for about 3 to 4 seconds. You're not going to be able to pick up on everything. Don't worry about that. What I want you to notice is how many things you actually see within 3 seconds. So let's kind of play it. Okay, let's go back to the beginning of that. What things did you see?
It looks like someone's driving fast, like trying to run away from something.
Okay. Was the person driving a good guy or a bad guy?
Looks like a bad guy to me.
Okay, yeah. Okay, and did you see anything else?
I don't know. It's like skull.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's got definite horror movie dynamics there. And so I'll quickly pause on each screen. Okay, he doesn't look like a good person here. He's got glasses on, he's got a weird face thing, he's got chains. Okay, now he's clearly, the director is wanting you to focus on him. He's not focusing over here on the guy in the background. He looks like a bad guy because look at his face. He's all weird. I don't know what's happened with his lips. That's kind of bad. We'll show one again, all center of the screen. Center of screen. What's that?
What is that actually?
It's a bird skull.
Yeah, it's a bird skull.
It's too quick for you to see, but you kind of get it. And then, what's that?
The skull.
Skull. Okay, so the skull, what do skulls symbolize? What's the subtext of skulls?
Death, most likely.
Death. Yeah. And so the skull is coming towards the screen. And so what is that saying to us? Death is coming. Very quick, less than a second, he is telling us death is coming. for it. And death is in the movie is coming in this moment and that stuff. So the movie is giving us language that we can use to understand stuff. Mad Max Fury Road, if you watch that movie, draw a circle in the middle of the screen and see what the movie is showing to. Don't do this on your parents' TV. They will get very angry, especially if you use permanent marker. But it's a really good cinematic thing. If you've got a TV screen, draw something on the screen, see what the camera focuses on. Right, I'm falling a little bit behind schedule on this, so we're going to go through the next one very quickly. We've done a kind of action horror movie. Now, let's do a romantic comedy. Again, let's bring our attention to the center of the screen, and then we will go from there. Right. Yeah, ad removers, I don't like them. So, what is in the center of the screen? This is interesting.
Okay.
It's the light, but the light forces us to be on the level of her face. So the camera is, our eyes end up looking at the light, but then we shift over to the face. So we're being forced to kind of look at, what's her face? I've forgotten her name. And that's if we're paying attention, we kind of, our eyes go from here up to here and across. Now, who is she? Is she a good guy or a bad guy?
Good woman.
She's a good woman. What tells you this?
Yeah, from the appearance, and then her face, maybe.
Her face, yeah.
But mostly because of the appearance.
Yeah, the appearance. She's got kind of colored things, which is blue. This tells us information about her. She's dressed, you know, not incredibly sexily, but a little bit sexily. But she's got quite an old woman vibe to her. So she's clearly, she's not like Megan Fox earlier on in the thing where it's like, oh, it's bikinis all over the place. What about him? How is he dressed?
He's like mafia or something.
Yeah, he's wearing
because
he's wearing
of his shirt. His suit.
Exactly. He's wearing a suit. He's got black glasses inside. He means trouble. Who has power in this situation?
The man.
Yeah. What tells you that he has power?
Yeah, maybe as Tika said, he looks like a mafia, but in my perspective, he could also look like a federal agent. So yeah, mafia and federal agent surely has powers.
So that's the clothing. The clothing is telling you that he has power. He is up here. She is down here as well. So it's also the camera angle where he's positioned in the frame. He's bigger, he's taller, he's this imposing presence. Let's continue on for a couple of minutes and then we're going to heat it on. He's got black glasses on. He's holding in. What is she thinking? Oh, something's going on here. She looks a little worried. She's looking to the side. He's kind of black. Oh, he's got a gun. The music is going dum, dum. She looks worried. She's lower down. He's higher up in the frame. Okay, who has power now?
After the touching, I think the woman look like angry or something, or recognize something.
Yeah, as soon as he takes off, as soon as the glasses go, his face looks kind of sad and pathetic. She takes it, she looks more in power, and she turns away, which is a power move. I'm not scared of you. I can turn away from you, and I'm therefore the one who has the power. I put the sunglasses on. I am protecting. You can't see my emotions there. And so it in this scene, you get the acting and the body language that then tells us who each person is, who has power, what are the dynamics. We're going to skip over. Okay, so you guys all picked a movie in your groups. We're going to come to the final activity. Unfortunately, we are running a little behind schedule, so you're only going to get 10 minutes for this. And I will ask 2 people for their movie trailer to kind of find cinematic language within it. I want you guys to kind of have a watch of the movie trailer together in your groups. So for the blue cats that browse the internet, find the trailer for Endgame, use that trailer, have a look through it. If you can, use the annotate function to draw a circle in the middle of the screen to see what you're paying attention to. Think about the dialogue, what the character's saying, how they act, what are the music and the sound effects. I bet you Thanos will get some kind of doom music when he appears, clothing and appearance, and camera angle. Thanos is always filmed like this to make him bigger and more powerful. He's never filmed like this. So in your breakout rooms, have a watch of the trailer, and I want you guys to find the cinematic language they're using in that trailer. You will have 10 minutes for this. Yeah. So actually, while we're at it, facilitators, could you take a screenshot of this?
Yes, we will already.
Perfect. Okay. You didn't get a good angle. Never mind. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so if we could create the breakout rooms, I will see you in about 10 minutes. Good luck, guys. If you have any questions, you can put them into the chat and we will go through them later on. Somebody has said it looks like socks to me. Okay, yep. We're a little bit behind schedule, but I'm sorry about that. We'll bring up the Q&A in the thingamajig. So usually the Q&As they're useful, but they're more a chance for people to talk, and as long as they're talking in the breakout rooms, it'll be okay.
Yeah. Or could we make it longer for the breakout room for 15 minutes maybe? Or
if that's okay with you, again, I was intending to be done by this point, but yeah, there was a certain amount of sidestepping required to kind of get through that initial point, because I mean, it was basically it wasn't the coming back in, going through this one. It took a little too long to go through the coming up with the names, and then going through the what's it called, the Firefly stuff. That also took a bit too long, I think. But you know, life goes on. We'll say I'll tell them 8 minutes, but let's give them the full 15 if that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay if it is 15 minutes.
Okay. I'll say 10 minutes in the chat.
Yeah.
To kind of light a fire under their behinds, and then we'll go with that. As I say, I mean, this lesson has been adapted by one that goes that generally I have done live with a kind of projector behind me. And it's interesting to see the difference between when you do them on Zoom and when you do them in person. Because this literally takes about an hour max when you're in person. It's interesting how much time you lose between transitions, between asking people to unmute, checking whether they can do it or not.
Yeah, the technical things takes too much time, I guess.
Yeah, and I think if we're talking about the kind of pedagogy, we haven't like as an industry, the teaching industry has not yet figured out what good pedagogy looks like online, which is why I spend so much time kind of bouncing to different students to get them to talk, because the kind of message I'm trying to project to each and every one is to say, it's okay to talk, don't worry about getting the answer wrong, because there's nothing more scary than being the only one with your camera on and everybody else is silent, and the teacher asks you a question and you don't know the answer and you go, ah! And that stuff. I mean, it is every human's nightmare. And that stuff. So yeah, accepting that it's a little bit, the amount of work required to make a Zoom class work versus a non-Zoom class it's more difficult. So when this is over, what are you going to do? Are you going to go out, get some food, or go have a nap?
Or may I have another Zoom meeting? A back-to-back meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What about Norindra?
Yeah, well, sorry, I've not been talking to you.
It's because in Surabaya still PPKM, so I cannot go anywhere. Just stay at home.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just because of pandemic.
Yeah.
So what about the pandemic in Scotland?
It's kind of, it's under control. I mean, like, I can go out. I have to wear a mask when I go into a shop, but outside, I think we're at 78%, or I think it got to 80% vaccine, like fully vaccinated. At this point, it's mostly under 16s that aren't vaccinated at this point. So yeah, no, it's a small country that's very, like, it's the size, like Scotland is like the size of Java, but has a population smaller than Jakarta. So everybody is really spread out. So like disease transmission is very small. Like the really big city that in Scotland over there called Dundee, it has like 100,000 people in it. So it's tiny, which it's not fair, but it does make it a lot easier to kind of deal with a pandemic. Whereas in Indonesia, a lot more people, a lot less access to things. So, it's, it's unfair. It really is. Because, I know how, it's so difficult to be having to be locked up. And lots of people can't do it. If you're a Gojek driver, you have to work. And that's, if you're a street picker, a street sweeper, you have to work. And if you don't work, you don't eat. Whereas here, the government will pay you not to work. So it becomes a lot easier. So a lot of people are like really enjoying the lockdown, and they were just like, oh, okay, I'm going to watch Netflix all the time and play computer games and get progressively fatter.
When will you come back to Jakarta?
I'm hoping late September. Right now because I've had one vaccine, so I'm waiting on the second. And then once I've had the second, I have to wait 2 weeks. And at that point, I'll come back then. Have you guys managed to get a vaccine yet, or?
I just got first vaccine.
Yay! Was it Sinovac, AstraZeneca, Zeneca? Which one?
They got the Astra one.
Oh, good.
Sinovac from
I mean, it really, I mean, as long as you're getting vaccinated, that's the important thing, because you know, it may not stop you getting the disease, but it will stop it from like really damaging your lungs. And that's important, because I think that's where we're all going to get it eventually. We just need to protect ourselves and not, you know, not do irreparable damage to our lungs in the meantime, or parts of ourselves or things. One of my friends got it about 2 months ago, and she's suffering like long haul. She didn't get a vaccine beforehand, and it's noticeable how much she kind of wheezes and coughs and just can't do stuff. I think, you know, she's young. I'm pretty certain she will get better in the long term, but like 6 months of puffing and panting whenever you go upstairs is not good. So yeah, whatever vaccine you can get it, because it will protect you from the worst. I've forgotten, we started at about 20 past. Shall we give them another warning and say 5 minutes?
Yeah, that's cool.
5 minutes remaining. How many exclamation marks should I give? Do you think 7 is enough?
Yeah, it's up to you.
Jamie.
10 maybe.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm giving them 10.
All right.
For every 30 seconds. Yeah. What have people been saying? I'm trying to figure out what Dickie is saying. It looks like socks to me. I'm not sure what he was referring to there.
Look like
What if yeah, I don't. Usually I have Chris kind of sending me private messages to kind of go, oh, okay, they're talking about this in the chat. Oh, yep. Yeah, all DNs should put numbers on the username to make it less confusing. Are you saying, should I change my name? All DNs want to join Jamie's class. Whoa, there are so many DNs. Waka waka, it's meant that the duck is crossing. And then Fasil Arif, welcome to Waka Waka Land. There we go. Let's keep the breakout rooms open for now. Yeah, it will be slightly, it will be about 10 minutes over. I'm sorry about that. And so, I mean, it's not, yeah, we'll take it out of the Q&A time. And that's it. If we'll let them do it, and then we'll see where they go.
They have to do a presentation of the discussion result or not after this?
I think I will ask one. I'll probably, because I'll probably ask at least one group to do it. Kind of looking at it, I'm also trying to identify, because I don't want them to show The Conjuring, because I'm worried about what adverts they'll show at that point. Actually, I'm going to bring up the Avengers Endgame on YouTube. We'll do it with that. Let's do that.
Or should we make the presentation session longer than the Q&A session one?
I mean, I think I'm going. It's a good question. Hello, Salsa. I think, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna try and keep it to about 3 minutes max about it. I'll ask them which of the Avengers trailers they decided to go for. go. We'll do it very quick. So at 8:40, then we should be done.
Okay.
Give the 1 minute remaining. Remaining? No exclamation marks. I want them to take it seriously.
All right. What's your plan after this Zoom meeting?
I am going to have more coffee and
Not going back to sleep, right?
No, not at this point. Actually, Harry Potter would also work perfectly fine. Better results with so-and-so. Actually, the Harry Potter trailer is quite good for this kind of stuff, so I think we'll just do it with that as well. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Slowly back.
Okay. Actually, guys, for my breakout room, I think I needed more times because we are still on the third aspect.
It's okay. We'll maybe let people kind of go for again. I am actually going to only ask one group for it, and that's the. If you've had a chance to chat about, if you haven't covered every aspect, that's okay. This is a reason for you guys to join again later and have more chats.
Oh my God. Okay.
I'm sorry that we were a bit truncated because yeah, it took too long at the beginning to get it. So very good luck in the hospital. I hope things go well. And that's good luck. Thank you for joining. Okay, so we have a choice at this point. We have two kind of groups that we could go with. We've got the blue cats that internet or the blue dinos that working. I think for this one, I'm going to go for the black dinos that were working because you guys went for Harry Potter, am I right?
Yes, we are.
So can I ask you, which trailer did you pick? Did you pick the first one?
Yeah.
I choose the first one because that is the interesting one because it's all the beginning.
So let's have I'm going to draw a circle on the screen and we'll kind of go with it. What kind of cinematic language were you seeing in the trailer?
Cinematic. Okay, we already talked about this. What do you want to ask him?
Yeah, so let's have a look at the cinematic language, and we're just going to show a little bit.
Okay.
Notice where the eye is being.
Did you ever make anything happen? Anything you couldn't explain?
Okay, so what is the trailer telling us at this moment?
Okay, that this movie is different than the other because we can see another. It's like different people. They are small, and then with the man using the wand, and they make it in the center, so it will be new things.
Yep. So it's centered. Let's just go through this part again. So let's go back a little bit further. Okay, makers of fine wands. We're getting a chance to see this. So we know that this is a wand. He's not just been handed a stick, which is quite interesting that they wrote it on screen so that nobody could be confused. This is not him going, here you go, here's a pen. So they wrote that on the screen.
Ever make anything happen?
Okay, right. Now, this is quite interesting. This hand means that this person is a lot bigger. Daniel Radcliffe is a child in this scene. He becomes a lot smaller here, and there's this big hand coming in, so he's not that powerful in this scene. What does the camera do?
Anything you couldn't explain?
As he becomes more powerful, the lighting in the background turns on. The camera moves in so that he is bigger, that he is higher up, so that the camera is looking at him like that. It's forcing you to look at his face, which is going, and so there's a lot of things that are going on. I'm going to play the rest of this trailer, and we're going to see what is in the center of frame at all times.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
Advertising.
Dear Mr. Potter, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
Witchcraft and Wizardry when it's looking at the building. As soon as you see the building, then they start to talk about witchcraft and wizardry.
Moments you will pass through these doors and join your classmates.
Camera moves with them.
Keep an eye on the staircases. They like to change.
He's literally describing what is happening in the movie. Keep an eye on the staircases. They like to change, and then they move.
Good afternoon, class. Welcome to your first flying lesson. Stick your right hand over the broom and say up.
There we go. Everything that the camera wants you to pay attention to is in the center of the frame. Faces, important actions, things happening, they come to the center. And this is the way that the movie tells us this is important. I'm going to stop showing this at this point. We're going to go on. Where are we? We're going to zoom on. So cinema tells us a lot of things. It tells us what to think about characters. It tells us how to think about what's happening on screen. It does this through a number of different ways. It's communicating through the dialogue, the acting, music and sound effects, clothing, where the camera is pointed. These all communicate with us. These are all ways that cinema communicates with us and gives us more information. If you are interested in films and cinema, then I would recommend these YouTube channels that go into different cinematic techniques at this point. If you're thinking about camera angles, camera angles, then I would recommend Every Frame of a Painting. His description of how Jackie Chan uses the camera in a scene is masterful. He really is very good at explaining why Jackie Chan movies are so good. Patrick H. Williams is very good about explaining Marvel movies, why they're good. Lindsay Ellis does an amazing set of videos on the Transformer movies, why they're bad, and the Mad Max movies and why they are not bad, but not great, and why Mad Max is so great. And Lady Night Brave is she does fun things about character and dialogue and acting. So these are quite good YouTube channels to check out if you want to learn more about cinema. Upon which point, I want to say thank you to Britzone. I think I have used the right thing. I'm not sure if this is the Jakarta thing or the Surabaya one. I will now hand it over to Britzone people. I think we're going to be taking a selfie, so put on your selfie faces. If you're interested in this and you want to learn more, or you need the support of CCT in any way, I need to inform you guys that CCT is actually changing. We're possibly going to be amalgamating with another company. So our Instagram is no longer active. But if you are interested in learning business English, or you think your company could benefit from business English, you can email me through my CCT email. You can also contact me on Instagram, although this is my personal Instagram, not my professional one, because again, we're changing that. At which point, I will hand it over to Nikan and say thank you so much to the Britzone team for doing this event.
All right, thank you, Jamie. That is very insightful and fun session of cinematic language. And for more information about CCT, you could contact Jamie on Instagram at Jamie Heitler or on email heitler.jamie.cct@gmail.com. All right. So next session, I would have a Q&A session with Jamie. Does anyone want to ask a question? You could click the raise hand button and unmute yourself.
Also, if you have trouble with your microphone, you can put the questions into the comments and I will respond to them there.
Yeah, does anyone want to ask? Okay, we have Fasil 8, Mbak Princess. You could go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you, Nikan. So this is for our, hi Jamie, I'm sorry.
Hi, yeah, no, that's okay. Please.
Okay, so this is what I'm wondering, like, since I watched the first horror movie, is this like the loud sound and then like the jump scare, is it always like that to be in a horror movie? Or I mean, like, is it the typical thing of the horror movie, or is there anything like a unique thing outside of that two things before? Because I tend to like do horror movie always like that, but what the function they do that? Is it just to make us to feel like scary jump scare or something like that? But it doesn't really I don't really get the point of that. Okay. I wish you could help me to answer this.
So in order to answer this, I'm going to draw a graph. So the jump scare is definitely an aspect of certain horror movies. They tend to be kind of either ghosts or aliens or monster movies, and that's a thing of the rising crescendo. You have a build up, and then jump scare, and then they tend to fall off. Now, this is a particular element of a particular type of horror movies. It's not all horror movies, but it's actually interesting if you look at it as not as being a jump scare, but as being an emotional moment. Then those kind of horror movies are very like action movies, and they're very like romantic movies. If we stop thinking of them in terms of simply as the particular genre and look at the pattern, most movies follow an interesting. We've got the 3-act structure. So that's 1, 2, 3, and usually what they will be doing is that they will be building up emotions throughout that thing. So in the action movie, you'll start off with an exciting element which will then broke off. You'll then come up to a more exciting element where more explosions, more things, and it will fall off. You'll then come to the end where everything explodes and everything could go horribly wrong and everybody in the world is in danger. Marvel movies do this a lot. And then it ends and it falls off. This tends to be the pattern for most standard movies. In an action movie, it's first action scene, middle action scene, which is usually something like a car chase, last action scene, which is everything is going to hell and buildings are exploding everywhere and there's explosions everywhere. That's the pattern for Marvel movies. In horror movies, it's usually like that. The first jump scare is something harmless that is not important. So you're in a scary building. There's cobwebs everywhere. You look around, you go around a corner, there's a jump scare. And usually the jump scare is something like a cat that jumps out. And so it builds up emotion, jump scare lets the emotion go. Then it builds up to the second kind of set of jump scares where it's building up. And this time something bad happens, somebody dies. And then you build up to the last one where everybody bar the main character dies. So it's not all movies follow this pattern, and really good filmmakers will know this pattern and they will change it and play with it. But it follows this pattern of emotion builds up, is released in catharsis, either in explosions or gore or people dying in horror movies or people having a romantic moment in romance movies. Like the first, in a romance movie, the first one is when the two main characters look at each other across the room and nothing happens. But they do that. And then the second one is when when, you know, maybe they could be together, but the boy usually does something stupid. And then the girl is angry at him and can't, no, I can't do it. And then it builds up and I forgive you. And then they kiss as the end point. Horror movies, first jump scare, which is a cat jumping into frame or something vaguely harmless that primes the audience to think, okay, bad stuff is going to happen, bad stuff is going to happen. Oh, it's just a cat. Bad stuff is, and then in the second part, bad stuff is going to happen, bad stuff is going to happen. But one of the side characters, the friend, dies off screen. And then in the end of the horror movie, everybody dies, blood everywhere, screens covered in red. And then one person survives and we can all breathe out. So it's a pattern of emotion, of building up emotion throughout the film. Marvel movies, first fight with the bad guy, second fight, which is usually a car chase, last fight, all the buildings explode. Again, not all movies are like that. If you look at really good movies, they will sometimes follow this pattern. They will sometimes break this pattern. If you look at certain horror movies that are more psychological in nature, they tend not to follow this pattern. They tend to do it at odd things. Like there's a movie called Stalker, which is a very old Russian movie, which is kind of horror science fiction. It doesn't follow this pattern. Instead, it goes hudush, something horrible happens, and then just gently lets the tension go over time because you go, oh my God, something really gory happened at the start. It's going to happen again and it's going to be worse. And so you're on edge throughout the rest of the movie. But nothing happens. It is kind of, I'm really angry at that movie because it made me really scared and then nothing happens throughout it. So yeah, filmmakers, they play around with it. I hope that gives a little bit of an answer to your question.
All right, sure. Yes, definitely. Thank you, Jamie. But may I ask one more thing?
Okay.
Sure. And then I'll go to Dickie next.
Okay.
I think there was
yes.
Please.
The question is, what do you think about The Quiet Place? It's kind of a horror movie, but there's no sound. So do you think it's perfect? I mean, like it's brilliant movie or else?
I have not seen it, but I think the concept is amazing. At some point, I am going to watch that movie and do it. I think it's very, from what I've been told by people who have seen it, it's very well made. And I think the tension there is, with the no sound, is to make people unsettled. Because in movies, you're used to the music kind of rising and falling and screams and things, and that allows horror is, if you know the concept of catharsis, of release of emotion, horror movies are about building up emotion and then releasing it. And the screams and the blood and everything going everywhere it's almost a relief because now you don't have to be worried. The people have died, it's done, and that stuff. What I believe The Quiet Place is doing is it's raising that tension. It makes you scared at the beginning because it shows you, I believe, an old man kind of gets killed by the monster and you and that stuff. And it does what Stalker does, which is it raises the tension really high at the start and then just doesn't let it go. It just let it carry out throughout that. And then we'll jump it up a little bit. Again, I haven't seen the movie, but I do believe it's supposed to be really good. So I will see it at some point when my heart is ready, because I find horror movies sometimes a little difficult to watch.
Okay, yes. Thank you so much, James, for the answer.
You're very welcome.
Vicky.
Sorry.
Got a question.
Okay, I'll go to you and then I'll go to Dickie. Yes, Rifki. Rifal, yes, please.
All right, go. Okay, so how much important of study
the patterns of emotions in industry. Yeah, because I strongly believe that the director must have known this very well, the importance of this. So they made it, they prepare and all the things need to set up very well. So how much important do you see studying emotions, the patterns of emotions? So at the end will attract people's attention, so audiences to watch more and more. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it is really important. I think that without, I think there is a little bit of a film has an interesting thing because there are people who are very obsessed with high status movies, like The Godfather and movies like that, and then there are people who like Marvel movies, and the people who like The Godfather kind of tend to be a bit down on the other movies, and I think and I think that that's doing a disservice. I mean, I like both types of movies. I love really high art house movies, and I like Marvel movies because I think the Marvel movies are very psychologically aware, and I think they found actors who are very good at portraying emotion in a way that is very universal. The Godfather, you really can only enjoy if you are fluent in English and you understand the dynamics at play, and if you know the history and things like that. To get the most out of it, you have to be very culturally specific. Marvel movies are good because they kind of pull back on the cultural specific stuff, but they focus, as you say, on the emotion. The actors are mostly emoting; they're not really acting. They're all feeling things with their heart more than having clever dialogue with each other.
Okay.
Which again, if we're talking about the psychology side of it, yeah, they have to be really psychologically smart to be able to act.
Yes. So that's why they need to know the patterns. So obviously, from every scene that they make, they have to make the patterns of emotion. So later on, when it comes to like producing a movie, it needs to all set up.
Exactly, yeah. And they spend hours and hours sitting together discussing what emotions they're going to try and bring out at what points.
Yes. Yeah. Even though sleepless night.
Yeah. There's a lot of work that goes on like behind in a movie that we never see. We just see the movie, but everything in the movie has been decided.
Yeah. Okay, well noted. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I'm going to go to Dickie next, and then I'll go to you. So, Dickie, you've been very patient. And so what was the question you were going to ask?
Okay, so actually, earlier you said that you also watch A Knight's Tale, Jamie. So
yes,
I want to know what do you like from A Knight's Tale? I mean, it's not a movie that watched by many people, I believe, but to me, it's a movie that has a lot of value to watch.
Yeah. I would recommend. Sorry, yeah, I'm going to mute you for a moment, but then I'll come to you in a second, just because I'm getting feedback. So, Dickie, in regards to The Knight's Tale, I love it for I think probably about 3 reasons. Lady Knight the Brave does a wonderful analysis of it. And she talks about the characters and how they're represented. To me, when I first watched it, I loved it because it did an amazing job of being historically real without being historically accurate. Because I'm a fan of history and I love reading about the medieval times. And movies get the medieval times wrong. They always get them wrong. The Knight's Tale, I think, is probably the only movie that has done the medieval period justice, because the medieval period is basically a bunch of people who are just a bunch of football lads. It's a football movie with no football. And that describes the medieval period wonderfully. So it does that amazing thing of describing a medieval time through modern, at the time, music. So The Knight's Tale, instead of playing kind of lutes and banjos and going do 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 do. They're playing "We Will Rock You" and everybody's going.
Yeah.
And that gives you the feeling of a football crowd, which is how it would have felt to them. So it's, as a movie, it's emotionally true to what was going on, to what the feelings were, without having to be literally true. And that's, I think, part of why The Knight's Tale is so amazing, is that it gets to emotional truth without having to be really true. And that's what movies are, because movies are fake, but they can touch us emotionally deep down, which is why I love The Knight's Tale. It's also got the best use of Chaucer in it that I have ever seen. That stuff. I love the character of Chaucer in it. When he's kind of playing the rabble rouser. Yeah, he's going, Ulrich von Liechtenstein. It's just, yeah, that's a great movie. If you guys have a chance, please watch it, because it's really underrated. Yeah. Why do you like it, can I ask?
Yeah, the moral value when I watch the movie. You know that when you are jousting against the future king of England, you know your opponent is the king of England. And he is injured. So you choose to take your joust up like this, making it a draw, you know. And later on, at the end of the scene, we see that the main character, Ulrich, or William here, saved by the future king and touted as a knight, you know. I dub you Sir William Thatcher. And also when you love a girl, the girl told you, if he loves me, he will lose. And I think William doesn't believe it. I must lose. Like, are you joking? You want me to lose? But
it's a good movie. We have only, I believe that I have to actually close up very soon because I've taken too long. But I will ask Yufe just to quickly ask his question. Is Yufi here?
For Yufi? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question.
So it will have to be.
For example, like a movie in Marvel Cinematic Universe, we sometimes look at the ending at the post-credit scenes. We sometimes look after like a blowing like boom, and then the movie is added, but sometimes like 1 or 2 minutes have some credit for scenes, and to make everyone like, do you really believe that that credit pause to make everyone are eager to look forward the next episode? Maybe is it giving some like a chance to everybody who want to look more about this kind of movie, like the post credit scenes?
The post-credit scenes are fascinating. Yeah, I mean, post-credit scenes are like Jackie Chan does post-credit scenes, but he does it to kind of make you excited about the movie you've watched because he shows you all the things. I think post-credit scenes are interesting because we have trailers at the beginning of the movie, and the post-credit scene is a trailer for the next movie. Marvel was really clever when they started doing that. Marvel, they know what they're doing. They're very psychologically smart. You've seen lots of explosions. Here's when the next explosion is going to happen, but we're not going to tell you when. I would love to go more into the psychology of that because there's lots of interesting psychology around gambling, variable rewards. But I think I have to close up because otherwise, because I believe there's another meeting coming on. But thank you, Yafi. That is a really interesting point.
Thank you.
I hopefully in another one we can have another go, have a further talk about that. I hope to see you in future Britzone events, and we can talk more then. So, thank you very much. I should hand it over to you, Nikan. Sorry, I've gone over time.
All right, that's the end of our Q&A session. And before we go to the end of the class, we also have special information for you. So we will open for Britzone Surabaya Recruitment Committee on September 1st. And please stay tuned on our Instagram at Britzone SBY to know more about the details of it. So if you guys interested in joining Britzone Surabaya as a committee, we would wait for your application on September 1st. All right. Okay, enough with that. And here we are at the end of our class session. But before we officially end it, we will have a photo session. So please turn on your camera. And yeah, I have one of the committee, I guess, to help with the photo session. Nurinda, Mbak Nurinda.
Okay, guys, could you please turn on your camera because I want to take our photo session.
Your beautiful faces.
Alika, Camila, Rizzy, Asia. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to count down from 3, 2, and 1. Cheese. Okay, one more time. 3.
We see a serious pose.
3, 2, 1, and cheers. Okay, thank you guys.
Okay, before you turn off your video, we would start to say out loud our tagline, which is dare to speak up. So if I say Britzone Surabaya, you could say dare to speak up out loud, okay? Ready?
Ready.
Okay, please unmute yourself first.
Ready.
Dare to speak up. Oh, not yet.
Not yet, not yet, Mr. Dicky.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Britzone Surabaya.
Dare
to speak up.
Hey.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
Thank you, Britzone.
Thank you, Jamie, for coming.
Leading us.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Britzone Surabaya.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, prisoners.
Thank you, Britzone, for letting me in your meeting.
Shirley,
Thank you for coming to it.
Thank you, Kak Roman. Thank you, Kak Rizzy.